are multiple reports that we're accessing one after another here on India Today. But I want to put the focus first on really the CAG report on the liquor policy that's just been tabled right now in the Delhi Assembly. You've gone through the details of that report. What does it establish? Who has been named directly, Shreya, among the AAP leaders?
Well, you know, this entire report, Atishi, is based on the performance of the liquor policy that was initiated in 2021-2022. And this liquor policy essentially is also compared with how the government fared and how the exchequer fared in the previous policy. Essentially, the audit report very categorically defines that while the new policy aimed at stopping the cartelization, the changes that were initiated were in fact promoting cartelization. For example, I'll point out one. What this new policy has done, they had restricted the wholesalers, the manufacturers to limit their sellings only via one wholesaler. So if I am a manufacturer, I can only sell through one wholesaler. However, someone who has a wholesaler license, he can tie up with multiple manufacturers. So essentially what the report is saying, that it is a skewed system which was hampering small businesses, because the performance report suggests that 70% of the liquor that was sold during the time period after the policy was implemented suggests that 3 wholesalers benefited from it. So all these things have been outlined as the performance of the liquor policy implemented, compared it with the previous report, how it factored with the exchequer, and then tabled in the CAG report. So this is very crucial in understanding that why this was not really fruitful for a government, why this liquor policy was actually hampering the government, and that is the reason we've already seen the CBI reaction. We already know how there were other essential parameters that were actually flouted, be it a conspiracy, be it a money laundering, etc. All these things have been established, but this is purely on the factor of how the government has been hampered that has been tabled in that CAG report.
All right, Shreya, thanks very much for joining us with all of those details. We will, of course, continue tracking all the reactions that come in on that CAG report. Let's get to, in fact, a detailed report by my colleague Pooja Shali, where she runs you through the top findings, the top 10 findings of the CAG reports.
Let me tell you about 10 big findings of the Comptroller Auditor General report, details that India Today has also accessed on top. And this could become difficult for the Aam Aadmi Party to defend. We're talking about, let's begin with the estimate. All of this is about the renovation done at Arvind Kejriwal's residence, 6 Flagstaff Road and Civil Lines. The estimate was about 7.91 crore rupees. And when it was analysed further, when the budget allocation was done, possibly when details were given to the contractor, eventual cost of the construction came to 33.66 crore rupees, according to experts, over a 300% jump increase when the final cost that was marked with regard to the construction work done. Let's take a look at other points here. Remember, at this point, how were the tenders given? Who was part of this renovation to what the BJP calls the Sheeshmahal? The Public Works Department declared the renovation on an urgent priority basis. Renovation for then Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal was mentioned as urgent on all official documents, and this is why, remember, the BJP is gathering all documents it possibly can now in the government to charge at the Aam Aadmi Party government. The consultancy through a certain restricted bidding, and that is why in the CAG report, the word that has been mentioned for even the consultancy services is arbitrary in manner in which the tenders were awarded. PWD used outdated consultancy rates, which means there was also a certain inflation added eventually to the consultancy rates as well, which basically analyzes, makes the estimate, helps in the work that was done at what BJP calls Sheeshmahal. Increased that consultancy rate by 50%. That's the charge that's coming. Let's take a look at eventually why specifications is what the Aam Aadmi Party will find difficult to then also defend, because one contractor was selected arbitrarily according to the CAG report, and then goes on to add point number 5 about how precisely were these tenders given for the work that was done. Apart from the estimate, a built-up area increased by 36%, which means it added to the cost. That's why from a 7 crore came to a 33 crore rupees. Let's take a look at point number 7. PWD altered some of the specifications to include antique items, heritage items, superior quality items that must be added to the civil lines residence of Chief Minister, for which, frankly, he didn't even get to really reside in. 18.88 crore rupees was spent on extra superior items. Now, what are these details? What superior items possibly, now that the report will be tabled, we'll have more access to it. But India Today has found that there is a serious charge of financial irregularity that the BJP will have to defend. We're talking about 29 crore rupees issued 2 months after the work was done. Such a high amount that was given for the renovation to a chief minister, remember, otherwise who's come on the plank of simplicity. And my final point here, point number 10, funds for staff block and camp office have been diverted. We are not saying it. This is mentioned in the CAG report. This is what the BJP will charge at the Aam Aadmi Party. And remember, it's a tragedy of how once against corruption is what Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal had come forth. Today, they are facing charges of grand corruption.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.